Shai, this is gorgeous. This is what I have to ask you. How do you define Art Deco?
So first of all, I love this style, and it is inspired by so many different things. So you got to think about it. When was Art Deco? It was the 1920s, the Roaring 20s. We just came out of World War I. No more austerity. More is more. You know, people wanted to show what they had, and you know, it was really a time of, like I say, more is more. So two big things really influenced the Art Deco period. The first was, in fact, the automobile movement. So all of a sudden, the automobile movement proved that you could now manufacture metals and make them malleable and make them pliable, so you could create shapes. So you see that a lot in the Art Deco. From those linear pieces that we saw before, it's now shaped pieces. There's a lot of rounded, soft edges, which I love. The second thing that was a really big influence in the Art Deco period was, in fact, the jazz movement, but in France. Now, it's interesting because in the U.S., there were no civil rights yet, but France was a very liberal society. So black singers, black jazz singers, and women in particular, broke that ceiling, and they brought this new fashion trend, which was flapper dresses and feathers and color and beauty, and really infused that into, and as we know, fashion dictates what we see in interior design. So when we see something in fashion, the next year we're likely to see it in interior design. This was a very big part of it. So that had very much influence into it as well.
That whole influx of black artists during that sort of Renaissance period was a beautiful time, and it did really affect globally the global culture, so I love that. If we want to embrace this, because I want this whole thing in my living room, could you just pick this whole thing up and put it in my living room? I love it. What would be some of the easiest ways to embrace some Art Deco in our homes right now?
So first things first, let's talk about the color. So, you know, Art Deco is very much about vibrant color, but here's the thing, because we're doing this space in a contemporary way, I don't want our viewers at home to feel as though you're on a trend, you're pigeonholed. The thing with trends is, and especially with interior design, is unlike fashion where I can buy a top or I can buy some pants and I'm on trend, this is expensive if you want to do everything on trend.
Yeah, I want this in my pants. I don't want this on my sofa.
Exactly.
It's a lot.
That would be a lot, right?
Yeah.
So I headed over to Unique Art and Deco, and I found these great pieces, and what I love about what they've done here is the larger pieces, or we'll call them the investment pieces, are the pieces that are in a neutral. So when you're doing this at home, if you want to be on trend, absolutely consider doing the investment pieces in a neutral, and then you can add color in a different way. So we have it on the wall. This is Southern Comfort by Benjamin Moore. It's a very soft, calming pink. It's not in your face, but yet it still, you know, kind of keeps those Art Deco principles of those jewel tones in a softer jewel tone. We have it in the accessories and the pillows, you know. So we've introduced those bold colors that doesn't necessarily, again, need to be screaming bold in kind of accessories in ways that are easy to change in the future. Yeah,
you even have these touches of aqua, teal happening, and so it would be very bold if it was pink,
all over,
green, blue.
Like
yeah, but you've done sort of these really beautiful tempered versions of bold colors, and I love that.
Exactly.
The sofa.
Yeah.
Can we just talk about the furniture in general? Like, what about the furniture is Art Deco?
So again, we go back to kind of that kind of softer palette, that softer line, that softer palette. And I love this. Now, this is kind of unique. This is a two-piece here. So especially for condos, for example, you know, condos, you can never get a large sofa into a condo. Sectionals are kind of the way to go. But I've never actually seen a curved sofa like this that actually comes in two pieces. So you can keep that Art Deco trend. Historically, Art Deco furniture tends to be a little bit larger because it was for those palatial big homes. But if you want to do it in a smaller space like a condo, this is a great idea, right? So you have the two pieces, you bring it in, again, the rounded edges, the rounded backs, but it's more contemporary. So it's in this boucle fabric. Boucle's having a moment, we all know that, we see it everywhere now, but it's a neutral again. So this is something absolutely I can see 10 years down the road still working in a space and not having to worry that it won't work with another design trend that you want to introduce it to.
Oh my gosh, this could be contemporary, this could be transitional, everything in between.
You got it.
Yeah, beautiful. Can we talk a little bit about the art patterns and how that plays into Art Deco as well?
100%. So, you know, you can be very literal and you can go into a, you know, a gallery and say, I want an Art Deco piece. But again, I think that pigeonholes you. And instead, you know, we have this great kind of contemporary, you know, modern abstract piece. The coloring works in the space.
That's lovely.
Right? The coloring works in the space. It has some metallics in it, so it gives some depth and dimension. But it really works well in the space, and it doesn't detract from the overall feeling of the Art Deco. But again, doesn't make me feel like, oh my goodness, that is just an Art Deco piece. This will work in any space that you introduce it to.
It sure will. I know we've talked about shapes. I just wanted to give a nod to this beautiful coffee table because, like you said, it's not a specific Art Deco piece.
You got it.
But it works.
You got it. So that's the other thing. Because we are being more, we're kind of being, we're interpreting it.
Yeah.
And we're not being literal about it. So Art Deco was about the malleability of furniture and metals and pieces. So this is a great piece because, like you say, even though it is not an Art Deco piece per se, it follows that kind of same theory of being able to kind of mold and have pliable pieces. Now, the other thing is you see that piece next to you, Trace, on the table.
Beautiful.
So fluting and reading was a big thing in the Art Deco period. So it was almost this way in which to kind of introduce like fanning, for example. But the fluting and reading is kind of those divots and rays that you see a lot in Art Deco. If you're not willing to do it on a wall, you're not willing to do it in a more kind of invested way, accessories are absolutely the way that you can save money, be on trend, but not kind of break the bank while doing it.
Beautiful. Now, do you want me to test it out for you?
Yeah,
the
do it.
sofa? Because I just want to sit down. But think about it. So I was just saying the other day to a friend, how come when I'm falling asleep on the sofa, it's such a good sleep, and then I get up to go to my bed and it's like it's not the same? This is good.
This is because this is the sofa that was meant for you.
This is the sofa that was meant for me. And I hope my parents aren't watching because my shoes are on the sofa. Sorry, Mom and Dad. It's so good, and the furniture is so beautiful. Oh, I think we're all going to want Art Deco in our spaces.